Welcome to this explainer. Really quick, before we get started, please hit that subscribe button right now and smash the like button. It honestly helps us out so much and lets us keep bringing you these deep dives into the absolute bleeding edge of human performance. Okay, so today we are unpacking the exploding world of injectable therapies. We're going to look at the whole spectrum, from massive, game-changing clinical breakthroughs in metabolic medicine, all the way to the underground, totally unregulated bodybuilding peptides that are just taking over the fitness industry right now. And we are tackling the biggest question on everyone's mind. Bodybuilders are jumping on drugs like Tirzepatide to get shredded, but is it actually destroying their hard-earned gains in the process? Just a really quick but super important note up front, this explainer is strictly for informational purposes. Everything we're discussing today is pulled entirely from peer-reviewed scientific articles, clinical trial data, and medical journals. You should never, under any circumstances, use any of these substances without the direct supervision of a licensed medical doctor. Seriously, always consult your physician before making any health decisions. All right, so let's dive right in by asking the central question that is basically driving today's entire fitness and weight loss culture. Are these injectable peptides and incretin therapies true medical miracles that are going to completely redefine human physiology? Or are they just unregulated hype carrying some pretty scary long-term hidden dangers? Well, to understand what's going down in the local gyms, we actually first have to look at what's been happening in the clinical laboratories. Section 1. The new weight loss revolution. To really grasp this, we have to start with the massive pharmaceutical breakthroughs that triggered this entire craze in the first place. You know, for decades, obesity and weight management were basically just tackled with diet and exercise, which, as the clinical data clearly shows, just often fails to produce sustainable results for a lot of people. But recently, a completely new class of medications has essentially rewritten the rulebook on metabolic treatment. And what we're seeing is basically an escalating arms race of pharmacology. It started out with step 1, semaglutide. This acts as a single receptor agonist, meaning it binds to and activates one specific receptor called GLP-1 to signal to your brain that you're full. But researchers were like, wait, what if we target more receptors? That led to step 2, tirzepatide, which is a dual agonist hitting both GLP-1 and GIP receptors. So it doesn't just crush appetite, it actively improves how your body processes nutrients. And now we are looking at step 3, retatrutide, a triple hormone receptor agonist that adds a third target, glucagon, right into the mix. So how do these incretin therapies actually work together? It's basically a complete systemic metabolic override. It's a multi-pronged attack. By simultaneously engaging these different receptors, the drugs act on your brain to significantly reduce your appetite. But they don't stop there. They also act on your pancreas to improve insulin secretion. They act on your liver to modulate hepatic glucose production. And get this, they act on your adipose tissue to actually increase your resting energy expenditure. You're eating less and burning more, all from a biological level. The results of this multi-receptor approach are literally staggering. I mean, look at this. In phase 2 trials, the triple agonist retatrutide drove up to a mind-blowing 24.2% reduction in total body weight over just a 48-week period. To put that into perspective, that rivals the results of invasive bariatric surgery, but it's achieved entirely through a simple weekly injection. Tirzepatide trials showed something really similar, with patients losing anywhere from 16 to 22.5% of their body weight. It's unheard of. But here is the massive pivot and the dilemma for athletes. When you drop that much weight that incredibly fast, what exactly is disappearing? Think about it. If you're a bodybuilder or a fitness enthusiast who has literally spent years grinding to build lean tissue, dropping 20% of your body mass isn't necessarily a win if it means your muscles are just cannibalizing themselves. And that brings us to a crucial point. Alongside the fat, clinical reviews are highlighting that patients are experiencing a very significant reduction in lean muscle mass. If you rapidly starve your body of calories, your muscle tissue gets sacrificed. It's just biology. Furthermore, studies on tirzepatide and semaglutide withdrawal show that when patients stopped taking the drug, they often suffered this severe cardiometabolic rebound. Their blood pressure and blood sugar spike right back up, accompanied by rapid weight regain. So you lose the fat and the muscle, but when you stop the shots, mostly just the fat comes back. Section 2. The unregulated fitness peptide craze. That specific threat to muscle mass perfectly explains why fitness enthusiasts are suddenly looking for alternative injectables. They're trying to protect their gains. They want all the fat loss magic of the GLP-1 drugs, but they desperately want to hold on to their muscle. And that desire, it has sparked a massive, entirely underground surge in the use of other, completely unregulated peptides. What's really fascinating here is the stark contrast between what's happening in legitimate clinics versus what's happening in gym locker rooms. On one side, you have FDA-approved drugs, rigorously tested, metabolic focus, undeniable clinical evidence. On the completely opposite side, you have peptides like CJC 1295. These are sold online through legal loopholes as quote-unquote research chemicals. They're heavily marketed for muscle growth and recovery, but here's the kicker. They completely lack controlled human evidence to back up any of those claims. Specifically, bodybuilders are turning to these GH-IGF-1 axis peptides. Basically, these are synthetic analogs, like the super popular blend of CGC-1 2095 and apamorelin. Their theoretical purpose is to poke the body's pituitary gland to secrete way more growth hormone and subsequently ramp up IGF-1. Off-label users are combining these secretagogues, injecting them daily, basically hoping for massive muscle growth, crazy fat loss, and rapid exercise recovery to counteract any muscle wasting from their extreme diets. Section 3. Evidence gaps and safety risks. Now, when we actually look at the clinical literature regarding these bodybuilding peptides, a very, very different picture emerges. The online marketing promises the world, right? But the scientific reality presents massive evidence gaps and honestly frightening safety risks that users are largely just ignoring. The problem is, there is a giant leap from theory to clinical reality. Yeah, sure, metabolic signaling in a petri dish shows that IGF-1 can increase muscle cell size, but researchers clearly warn that this does not automatically translate into clinically meaningful physical performance, faster injury healing, or actual strength gains in a living, breathing human being. The controlled human evidence for these fitness claims, it simply does not exist right now. And it gets worse. These compounds suffer from what the clinical literature actually calls an identity gap, because they are sold on the gray market as research chemicals for laboratory use only just to bypass FDA oversight. Users literally have no idea what they are actually injecting into their bodies. You're dealing with variable batch composition, completely unknown purity, and a potential lack of sterility. You are essentially playing Russian roulette with your bloodstream. And the side effects of this gamble? They're definitely not trivial. Unregulated stimulation of your growth hormone axis can trigger severe hormonal imbalances. While it's rare, excessive use can actually lead to acromegaly-like symptoms, which is where your bones and your internal organs literally grow abnormally. Users also frequently report hypoglycemia, which are severe drops in blood sugar. Plus, there are noted risks for acute inflammation of the pancreas, and we don't even know the long-term oncological or cancer risks from constantly stimulating IGF-1. This definitive quote from Dr. Cohen over at Harvard Health really lands a strong, authoritative punch regarding the reality of these safety risks. He simply says, as a clinician, I do not recommend injecting yourself with peptides. He points out that because these unregulated injectables can harbor so many contaminants, you're taking a massive, unnecessary chance on your health. His advice? If you want to maximize fitness, focus on the boring stuff: adequate training, proper nutrition, and quality sleep. Don't go looking for shortcuts in a sketchy glass vial. Which leaves us with this final, really provocative thought to consider before you even think about experimenting with any of these compounds. Is the pursuit of immediate aesthetic gains, keeping just a little extra muscle while cutting fat, is that truly worth the long-term, potentially permanent metabolic unknowns? You might look absolutely incredible for one summer, but you could be doing irreversible, silent damage to your endocrine system in the process. Listen to me. The science here is incredibly complex, and navigating it safely is literally the difference between achieving peak health and walking into a complete medical disaster. If you are serious about understanding the science, if you want to optimize your body but actually protect your health, you absolutely must buy our exclusive comprehensive ebook right now. It is only $19.90. This guide breaks down exactly what the clinical data actually says. It helps you avoid these dangerous underground black markets, and it shows you how to maximize real science-backed results. Do not risk your hard-earned gains or your health on unregulated hype. Click the link in the description right now, secure your copy for just $19.90, and take control of your fitness journey the smart way. Once again, please hit that like button, subscribe to the channel, and we will see you in the next explainer.